Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. As you guys can see, this is the illustration we're going to be doing today. You guys could see the final result. And this illustration was supposed to be placed last Saturday, but I'm going to be straight up honest, I was really lazy and really procrastinating last week, and I really don't know exactly why I was that way, but for some reason I could sketch out a whole bunch of different illustrations in my sketchbook, which is something I haven't done in a really long time. But when it came to actually finishing this, which was supposed to be finished literally less than 3 hours, but for some reason I couldn't do it. I think, but now looking back, I think I do know why I was a bit hectic with this one. It's mostly because of the window in the background. I drew this like I normally draw a lot of my illustrations. I only draw the main character, and afterwards, in my sketchbook, I'll have just a sketch of someone standing or a pose that I really like, and then later on I'm just thinking what am I gonna do with this, or I have an idea and I was like, oh, I could put this behind or something like that. So when it came to this illustration, that's kind of how I took it. I looked at it and I was like, oh, she could literally be there should literally be a little window behind her, and since I wanted it to make a little bit more medieval, I went with a very medieval window. I actually went looking for inspirations and everything to make sure that it turned out a little bit better than I wanted it to. But I had to go and change a couple of things later on. It didn't look 100% symmetrical because I know those modern medieval day windows look very, very symmetrical, but this one didn't do that 100%. I think it's also because it's the first time I did it, and I was literally just trying to figure out proportions and see how things would go and how it would color in, where I would put in a dark tone, darker shades and everything. And I also had to be mindful because later on I would be adding a lot of light, because on this one I wanted there to be more light coming from the background. I wanted to do something different, and even though I did have in mind that I wanted more, not more, but there would be light in front, but the most dramatic light, or the places, the place that I wanted it to have more light would definitely be behind where the window is. And this is something that I was thinking a lot of how I was going to do this, how I was going to illustrate this, and mostly how I was going to color it. And now thinking about it, I actually don't believe it was just me being lazy. I think I was just trying to understand how I was actually going to finish this illustration if I wanted it to be this way, because I did line art this and then I put all the colors and everything, and then I went back and I kind of modified the right side of the window in the background. I took some lines out because I didn't think it would match, even though I still think that there were a couple of things that I could have done better, but this was still I actually think it looked very nice, especially the way I colored in all of the stone and the walls. Later on I add some green to it as well. I do end up modifying it a little bit because I did find that I think I made the background too bright, and I did still wanted there to be a little bit of a darker tone to it, as you guys saw in the beginning where I showed you the finished piece and everything. I did dim the light down a little bit, even though I did not show it here on this video. It's mostly because I was not planning on dimming it. I just wanted like the entire super bright light going in, but I kind of thought that it was a bit too heavy. And even though like the environment that my character is in, I always envisioned that there was still a little bit of light, maybe candle lights with somewhere like closer to her, or like mirror reflecting like the outside as well, like, and it was literally hitting on her. Some mostly some small tone of lighting always working and going towards her. Something I do change as well is the tone of her hair. I actually end up doing that like later on when I get to the tone of her hair. I do end up changing it mostly because I didn't feel like the tone of her hair and the way I colored her skin, especially adding shadows and depth to her skin, I didn't do the correct amount of balancing when it came to choosing colors. Well, mostly for the hair, and I kind of went into color and balance, and I changed the hair to make it a little bit more orangey and a little bit more and like brighter than it was. And the end result, I actually loved the adjustments. So it's mostly just something that you get to do and have fun with the process of illustrating. And it's just something that you don't have to cry or go crazy that it's not going 100% the way you wanted it to. So this is technically what I wanted to do with my illustration. I just wanted to kind of almost tell a story, like, why is she like this? Like, what happened for her to be in like this position? And because the story I kind of had in my mind is that she is a princess, but she was captured, and now she's like in this tower thing, and the only little bits of sunlight that she has is literally like outside of this window, and another window that's also there, but it's like so high she could literally touch the sky or something like that. So that's why I kind of ended up also adjusting the light, as I said, because I didn't think you could see the blue in the background that much with all the lighting and adjustments that I did before. So I kind of just made it a little bit dimmer, and it did get a little bit darker, just a little bit, but even though I still played around with the lighting, and it still made it feel like there was bright light coming into the room, and you know, she was just there living in the moment. I also like to think that, oh, you know, she got kidnapped to this place, but she's like this because she's happy she's there, not actually because like she got kidnapped or something because she didn't want to be somewhere. So that's technically how I'm gonna roll with this story, because this is literally what I was thinking when I drew this window. So this is technically a little bit of her story. I don't really have a name for her at this moment, so if I actually get into that and like, oh, what am I gonna name her or something like that, then I'll go into it. But right now I don't really have a name for her, so she is nameless. But if you guys want to name her, please tell me down below, what would you guys name her? Like, what would she be for you guys? Like, what does she look like? And honestly, I do love the way I put like these daisies in her hair, and it just gives like a little bit of, she's literally so tranquil and just so okay with where she is at this moment. So I was actually really happy with this illustration, and also with the color of her hair. I actually really enjoyed the fact that I changed the color of her hair. It looked way better than I was expecting it to, and I really enjoyed that little moment of literally having that. And I love doing these illustrations because I can always see like where I've gotten better, not even like just in color, but also in like the actual illustration process, especially with my little problems where I had with like drawing clothes and folds. I do literally see that like my artwork is improving enormously, and I am so happy and so glad for that. I did give her like a nose ring, and I was actually concerned that it wasn't gonna look like a nose ring. Um, I just wanted to give her a nose ring. I thought it would look really nice, and it actually did up ending, like in the end, it actually did end up looking pretty nice. It gave her a little bit more of a momentum, more style to her, and since even though like I'm drawing something a little bit more medieval wise, yeah, it's never 100% medieval, okay? I'm still going to add like elements of what I think would be nice or something like that, but it's kind of how I would think like I do something if I were doing like a D&D character. It would probably be more in that aspect. So that's normally how I take and do all of it. Now I'm literally just doing her hair. I think the way that I'm now doing hair makes my life 100% better. um, Not because it's like it takes less time for me to do, but I actually feel like it feels a little bit more flowy. It has a little bit more depth to it. Depth. The word just didn't want to come out there. But in the end, I still enjoyed how everything flowed together and how it also ended up looking like. I also do a shadow pass over this illustration just to make everything just better. I was gonna put a filter, but I'm not gonna work with filters right now. Like, just add a color to kind of balance everything out, because I do think it's balanced enough. I think only if I had like a color correction that I didn't like, maybe then I would maybe put a filter over it. But I actually love the way it looked, even just the way it looks now, even without like the shadow pass, like the shadow overlay on top of this image, it would still look incredible. Like the illustration would still look amazing even without the the shadow overlay that I normally do. I do have a overlay as well that I also add, which is mostly to put in a lot of highlights, just to highlight where where the lighter parts of the hair is. I mostly added it to the back of her to make it like really like so you could really understand that there's a lot of light coming from the back as well, just to get that little, the lights coming more from the back. But as I said, I did leave out a couple of spots, and I also do add in this overlay that I end up adding like a lot of it's mostly like a yellowish. I do end up adding a pink, but it did give a little bit more of a shadowy tone to her dress. So not only her dress, but I believe I added a little bit on the cheeks, because I thought the shadows kind of took out a little bit of her makeup, and also her eyeshadow, just to dim it out a little bit. But besides that, it actually ended up looking extremely good, and I'm really excited and really happy with this illustration. And yeah, that is literally just a little bit more about this video and why I didn't post last week. So sorry. But I will leave you guys to the rest of this video, and I hope you guys have a good one, you guys. I will see you guys next week for more. I already have the illustration. Well, I have part of the illustration drawn, so it's a step. And I will see you guys next time. Have a great one, guys. Enjoy the rest of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Love y'all. Bye.